Hi everybody, this is Dr. Nick and you are watching the OMG tutorial videos. In this episode we'll be going over registering on the WarCP and joining a battle. Okay, so let's get started. Alright, we're on our computer, just regular. Let's open up our browser now. Alright, so we're on our browser, and the first thing, obviously you're going to want to do is go to the Operation Market Garden mod homepage. Okay, so right now we're on the homepage. We're all logged in and everything. Here, let me zoom in so you guys get a better look. And up top, in the top left here, you're going to see an option that says WarCP. So you're just going to click that, and it's going to take us into the registration process. Now it's just going to show some guides here and everything. We're just going to hit continue to registration. Alright, so now we are on the company creation page. Now this is where we're going to put in all our details and select our doctrines and everything. So, as you can see, you've got one allied and one axis company at your disposal. And that's just listed here: Axis, Allied, your company name, select your factions, and your doctrines. Pretty simple. On the right, we've got a company count over here. And all this is listing is how many companies there are for each faction. And that's useful because, say there's not many Panzer Elite companies when you're playing. Maybe you want to make a Panzer Elite company so that, you have more flexibility with your faction. So that's just there for your looking. Alright, so let's get started with making company. Okay, let's make the Allied. Now your company name here is the first thing you're going to want to turn out. And it could be anything you want. It could be 1st Panzer Division or 5th British Corps or whatever you like, or it could just be something silly. Since I'm just doing this for a tutorial, let's just make our company name OMG Tutorial 1, and the other one OMG Tutorial 2. Alright, and for our doctrines, let's just select American and Armor, and for faction, I'm going to select Wehrmacht and Blitzkrieg. Now make sure that you choose these carefully, because you won't be able to change them very easily. You can change them once you've selected, but it will cost you VPs, which that will come into much later, but I wouldn't worry about it since you're just starting out. Alright, now the next step is putting in your relic profile name. Now this is very important because your relic profile name here must be exactly as it is in game. Now your relic profile name is not your login information. It's the profile you select after you log in. If you notice, after you log in, you've got your profiles to select, and that's what you want this to be. Now, this is case sensitive, so make sure you get all the capitalizations right and whatever else you have. Alright, so my relic profile name is Dr. Nick OMG. Type it in again to confirm here. Remember, it is case sensitive, so make sure you get it right to whatever it is in game. Okay, and the next part here is it's going to ask you what games you own. Company of Heroes, Opposing Fronts, and Tales of Valor. And this is just an honor system, so please be honorable. If you don't own Opposing Fronts or Tales of Valor, don't select those boxes. And that's it. So I own all these, so I'm just going to select the boxes of all of them, and that's it. Okay, so, and of course the next, just a verification that you're not a bot. Just put in the code real quick. And then hit register. Alright, so now it's just going to bring up confirmation, make sure everything's right there, and then hit confirm. Okay, so now we're on this is called the war room. We see our details of our companies, and at the bottom of the page we also have fun companies. Okay, so you can see here, Allied War companies, got the name of the companies, faction, all their stats listed and everything. All that is good to go. But, and at the bottom, we have the fun companies. Now, a fun company is just the same as a regular company. The only difference is that, the stats don't really count. It's just used if you just want to play a mess around game with other people. And, that's it. Alright, so for the purpose of the tutorial, we're going to do a fun company. We're just going to hit register down there, select our faction, which I'm going to select Wehrmacht and Blitzkrieg again, and just type in a random company name, and hit register. Now you probably won't be wanting to use your fun companies when you play, you'll probably be wanting to use more of these war companies up here, but just for this purpose, we're just going to use this fun company. Alright, so I'm going to hit take to battle, and now we are in the other war room. I forget the name of this one. But at the bottom, you can see we've got a war map. That's not in yet, but we've got to also have a momentum meter. That shows how the persistent progress campaign in Operation Martin Garden is working. So right now the Allies hold 575 territories, Axis hold 175, so the Axis are losing. There's also a momentum meter that gets into a defense timer, and we'll talk about that when we get in game. Right now we're just going to focus on the bottom of the page here. We've got briefing room and inspect the troops. And those are what you're going to want to focus on right now. Okay, so briefing room is where we get games, and inspect the troops is where we make our company. So we're going to hit inspect the troops. Alright, so blam, now we're in our company creation. This is where the meat of everything takes place. Alright, so up top here, we've got a list of available units. Now the reason that's there is because in OMG we use a resupply and availability system. Basically what that means is that some units are hard capped, and you'll only get so many units back per game, so you can run out of a certain unit type. So basically, for example, you have a hard cap of 1 on Tigers and 3 on Snipers in OMG, and the resupply is lower, so if you try and use 3 Snipers a game, you won't be able to. But I wouldn't worry about that for your first few games. Okay, so now we go down here. We've got our company values and our list of units. So the company values is how many resources we get to make our company, since we're building our companies before every battle. We've got 9,000 manpower, 1,800 munitions, and 1,400 fuel. Alright, so we've got this company here. You can see it's all standard units from COH. There's a few custom ones that are only available in OMG, like the Stug Ace, for example. That's an OMG exclusive unit. Everything else is just the same as Vico. The stats are exactly the same. Alright, so let's go over to our armor tab here. You can see you've got a core, assault, infantry, armor, anti-armor, and support tab here. You just click them each one to open it up, and it doesn't matter if you it does not matter at all if you put your armor in armor or your armor in support. You know, you can put it wherever you want. That's just there for organizational purposes. So for this instance, let's just go to armor, and what I want to do is I'm going to add a Panzer to my company. So all we got to do is click Panzer and drag it over to this box. So blam, now we've got a box, we've got a Panzer IV in here. You can see that my resources went down up top because that Panzer has the cost listed there of being 350 manpower, 300 fuel. It also lists the population and the resupply of the unit. Alright, so now we've got the Panzer, so we've finally got something in our company. So the Panzer's nice, but I'd like to buy some upgrades for it. Well, it's really easy to buy upgrades on any unit. You just click the unit in the box, and then up top you'll see the upgrades available inside the shop. So for this I'm going to buy armored skirts and an MG. Alright, so now we've got our armored skirts, MG, our Panzer IV is good to go, fully upgraded. Great. So I'd like to add some infantry now, so I'm just going to go over to the core tab now, and I'm going to add in a Pioneer, a Knights Crossholder squad, and a Grenadier squad. Alright, so I just dragged all those in, easy peasy. Now you may notice here that the background of this box is green. That means that the platoon is good to go. You know, you can call it in, no problems. However, you might notice here, I'm going to drag a Tiger in here. And when I do that, you notice that the box turns red. Now the reason for that is because there's too much population in this platoon now. As you can see, if I hover over the number here, it says current platoon population is 28, the max is 25. So clearly this is too big. The max population you can have in any of these little boxes here is 25, so 28 is too big. So I'm going to take out the Tiger again, down to 12, and it's green again. So easy. If it's green, it's good. If it's red, it's not. There's also a minimum population on platoons. For example, if I try and put just a Volk squad in here, it comes back red. You have to have at least 8 population. So keep that in mind. Alright, so let's buy some upgrades. Once again, easily just click the unit and buy some medkits on my KCH. And we'll buy Panzer Shrek on my Grenadier squad. And also buy a medkit. And on the Pioneers, I'm going to buy a repair bunker. Okay, so I've used up some of my resources. I've got some units in my company. Functional. We're good to go. So this company is now war ready, even though I haven't used a lot. Now, you may notice that I still have a lot of resources left. Now, there's a reason for that. I'm only using some of my resources just because this is a tutorial. When you play, you will want to use almost all your resources. Make sure you spend everything that you can, all your manpower, munitions, and fuel if possible. And you never want to have many resources left over. It's always better to spend them all. So keep that in mind when you make your company. Alright, that's all there is to it. We're going to go up to the top of the page again, and I'm going to hit Save Changes. Alright, so now we've saved the changes. You may also notice up here that there's a Recalculate Resources button. Now, when that's going to come in handy is that after a game, your resources might not come in, might not show up properly. Just hit that Recalculate Resources button. It'll be all good to go. That's only after you've played a game. So, everything's good. We've saved our company. Make sure you always hit Save Changes after you're done. And now we're going to go to Briefing Room up top here. Alright, so now we're in the briefing room. I can see that there's a battle up, and I've got this nice chat here. It shows everyone that's online and all the crazy chat that's going on. It's a nice big list of online users. Alright, you might notice on the left here that we also have a create game option. So you can just create a game if there's none up already. So, let's just make a game, so I'll show you how to do it. The name doesn't matter at all. Select the size, I'm just going to select 2v2, and no passwords. And that's it, you just hit create. Page is going to refresh, and now you see that I'm in a game on the bottom here. I'm in a game with 3 available spots, and that's all. That's it. Pretty easy to create a game. Alright, you may notice now there's also a door button next to my name. Now the reason that's there is for leaving a battle. So anytime you just want to leave a game in this lobby here, just hit the door next to your name. And voila, I'm no longer in the game. Alright, since my friend Stranger already has a game up here, we're just going to join his battle. Alright, so we are now in the battle, and you may notice that we've got 2 red R's next to our names now. Now what that means is that we have not readied up. That's the reason that they're red. And you have to, all the players in the game must ready up in order for it to start. So it's red right now. All we got to do to change it to green to show that we've readied up is click the red R on our name, and blam, that's it. Okay, so now we're readied up, and we're just waiting for Stranger. Refresh the page a couple times here. Alright, now our teammate has readied up, and this game is good to go. Alright, so you may notice now that we've got this big, yellow letters here. All the players have readied up, so you're good to go and everything. Alright, so now what we're going to do is examine this battle ID that is pointed out to us on the bottom here. The battle ID here listed is 1916. So what I'm going to do is remember that. I'm going to minimize out of my browser and start up our updater that we downloaded in the last video. Since we've already got them all. Alright, our updater's done. It's checked all the files, and we're just going to put in those numbers that we got on the ID. So 1619, we're just going to put that in here. 1916? What was it? Yep, 1916. Okay, so you can see the same numbers in the launcher as we do online, and that's what's important. Alright, so now we're going to minimize out of that, and now right-click your launcher and make sure you have auto-launch enabled. Since you have auto launch enabled, you just hit download, and what that's going to do is it's going to download the battle files for you automatically, and it's going to start up your mod. And once you're in there, we'll cover it in the next part of the video. Alright, hope you guys followed along, and I'll see you in the next part of the video.